right, so today we're talking about area of parallelogram. A parallelogram is up on top. It's like a rectangle, but it's slanted. It is a parallelogram because my sides are parallel and my top and bottom are parallel. Are there any questions as to how to tell something is a parallelogram? Any questions about how to tell something is a parallelogram? Okay. All right, when we're talking about the formula, this is going to be what gives me the number that's going to give me the measurement for inside. We should know the area of a rectangle. All right, that's going to be on your formula quiz. And let's maybe write that down up here. Area of a rectangle. How do I find the area of a rectangle? Does anyone remember those two letters that we typically use? Delaney? Rivian?
How do we find it?
Length times width. The area of a rectangle is A. We always use a capital A equals length, and we do a cursive L so it doesn't look like a 1, times width. And we just write them next to each other. All right, so something we've worked really hard on this year is learning that when things are right next to each other, it automatically means to multiply. Okay? So this would be the area of a rectangle. The area of a parallelogram is a little bit different. A rectangle is a type of parallelogram. The top and bottom are parallel, the sides are parallel, but it's special. The formula for a parallelogram is just A equals BH. A equals BH. That looks a lot like L equals LW, A equals LW, doesn't it? Guys, here's the difference. This length and width, does it matter which one you choose as your length and which one you choose as your width? No, you can choose whichever one you want. For the base and the height, you have to choose a particular one for your base and a certain one for your height. All right? So B, let's write that down. B stands for base and H stands for height. All right? So when I say that it matters, your height is always going to have a right angle. Because, guys, if I go to the doctor's office and I stand up against the wall slanted like this, and I say, okay, doctor, how tall am I? Can the doctor tell how tall I am if I'm standing like this?
No.
No. What's he going to want me to do? Stand up straight. He's going to want me to stand at a right angle from the floor. I want to be standing straight up and down. I can't go like, how tall am I, doc? All right? I got to stand up and make sure we're going straight up and down. All right? So we're going to look at some examples of finding the area of parallelograms. And each of these are going to be a parallelogram. That will change as the week continues. This week we'll do parallelograms, triangles, and trapezoids. All right? When you're finding the area of a shape, you have to write your formula. So step 1 is always, always, always write your formula. So we're going to start with number 1, and just to make sure I have some space, I'm going to do it over here to this side, okay? So I'm going to start by writing my formula. A equals BH. And here's the cool thing, guys. If you write that for every single homework problem, which I'm telling you to because that's the rule, you will also have it memorized for your formula quiz that is on Friday. Okay? So A equals BH. A equals the base. Now, guys, the base doesn't have to be the bottom. It could be the top. All right? It cannot be a slanted line. We're never going to use a slanted line. All right? I'm going to use the top line just so that we don't get confused and think base means bottom, because it doesn't. So I'm going to use the top line. I'm going to start at that corner. You'll see where the corner is. Put your pencil there. And then I'm going to count over and see how many spaces that is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I got 7 spaces. So my base is going to be what? 7. My height. Guys, is this line telling me how tall I am? No. At the doctor, are you going to go lean on the wall? No, you're going to stand straight up and down. So we can really pick a line. I just need to make sure I'm going straight up and down like here. And then we're going to count it. So I'm going to start at the top. You can start at the bottom. It doesn't matter. I'm going to count it out. 1, 2, 3. So what's my height going to be here? 3. Okay. What do I need to do with those numbers now? Ideas? Multiply them because they are right beside each other. They're right beside each other, so we're going to multiply. 7 times 3 is 21. What do you think needs to go with that?
B8.
Jenny? Units. And because this is area, we're talking about the entire space inside here. We're not just going to do units, we're going to do units squared. Because remember, it's a flat shape, so it's two-dimensional. Two-dimensional, so unit squared. All right, questions about that problem? Okay. Number 2, what shape is it? It's a parallelogram. Okay, so I'm giving you some like easy ones. First, stay back, okay? All right, so if it's a parallelogram, what formula am I going to write down first, Kinsley? Make sure we have our A equals BH. The A lets the people know that we're finding the area. All right, A equals BH. What is my base going to be here? What is the base? Connor? 59.3. So this time the base was on the bottom. And I'm just going to put the number, we'll put the meters at the end. What is my height going to be here? What is my height going to be? Raise your hand, please. Height. Owen, wow, it's, 2 weeks. Okay, Owen, what's my height? 24.9. How do you know that's the height? Because it's not even on the shape. So how do you know that's the height? How do we know that 24.9 is the height? It's not on the shape, Kayla? It's by a right angle, and it goes from the bottom to the top of that parallelogram. But that's perfect. It's at a right angle. What did we say the height is always by the right angle? Okay, so perfect. So we're going to do 24.9. Right? This is where that calculator is going to come in handy. All right? This should be something you don't need my help with. So type in 59.3 times 24.9 is equal. There's a decimal button down there by the bottom. The number. All right, raise your hand once you have an answer for me. No, you can just type the times button. You don't have to type it in parentheses. Josh, what did you get?
So I think mine is wrong. I got 1,476.57.
That's correct. 1,746.57. All right. This saved us from doing all of this work. We went through and worked it out last period, and then I said, calculator. All right. What do I need with that?
Squared.
Meters. We need meters squared. Guys, you can use a calculator, but do you still have to write the formula? Yes. Do you still have to write what numbers you're typing into your calculator? Yes. And then you can write your answer. Guys, I can't stand over you to see what's going in the calculator. You have to write that down for me. All right? That's your work. Got it? All right. Number 3. It's a parallelogram. What formula should I use here, Morgan? A equals BH. Perfect. Equals. Okay. This is where you get to have a little calculator lesson. Here we go. You ready? All right. So, first of all, let's make sure we've cleared our calculator. So, clear. All right. We're going to start with my, what is my base? I got to write that down. What is my base?
9.5.
9.5. Times my height. 5 and 1/3. Okay, we got to write that down. I almost forgot. I know you want to type it in. Make sure you write it down, Josh. You got it. Do you have the times or the parentheses there? Make sure you put your parentheses around them, okay? All right. So I'm going to start with my 9.5. So I'm going to hit the button 9. Everyone found the 9? Okay. Do y'all see this button right here where it says ABC? Can y'all see where I'm pointing? The ABC. Guys, that's going to be your fraction button. Now, 9 is a whole number, but is 9 still a part of that fraction or that mixed number?
Yes.
Yes, since 9 is a part of it, I'm going to push the fraction button. That just says, hey, 9 goes with this. Okay, what number do you think I need next? 1, because it's on top. So then I have 1. Is 1 a part of my fraction? Yes. And we have to type this in order because it would be 9 and 1 over 2. So 9 comes first, then 1. 1's a part of the fraction, so I hit the fraction button. It's making that kind of weird little L shape, backwards L. And then what's the last number? 2. Now that's the end of my fraction, so I don't need to hit the fraction button anymore. Okay, that's the end of the fraction, okay? So now what am I doing with that 9 1/2? That's fine. So hit times. And it gives you that little star. Make sure our symbols are matching. And then what number do I need? 5. Fraction button. 1. Fraction button. And 3. Since 3 is the end, do I need the button again? No. Okay, I want you to hit enter. All right, make sure your answer says the same thing. If it doesn't, please bring your calculator up here so we can look and see, because we're eventually going to type something in wrong and our calculator might see something funky. Does anyone's calculator say something funny, like syntax error? Did anyone get that on their calculator? Syntax error? Okay. All right, so I'm going to make mine say that. All right, so do y'all see how now if I put enter it says syntax error? That means that I made a mistake typing it in. That doesn't mean that the calculator made a mistake. It means I did. All right? So I want to show you how you can use that to help you. If I hit clear one time, what do you notice? It's flashing, right? And it's flashing where the mistake is. So my mistake happened. I got the 9 right, the 1, the 2, the times, the 5. What am I missing here? The 1. And it should be right there where that flashing is happening. Once I change it, it fixes itself. Okay? All right, any questions about that? So we're going to write down our answer. How would I write that answer? 50, and then 2 over 3. What needs to go with it? Nope. Yards squared. Okay? All right, number 4 is a parallelogram. What formula do I need to use, Chris? Make sure you have your A equals. A equals what? BH. Price. What is my base going to be here? 4 feet. It's not on the bottom, but it's going straight. So I'm going to do 4. What is my height going to be here, Aiden? 8 feet, because it's going up and down. And what is my area going to be for this shape? Emma? 32. Make sure we have feet squared. Feet squared. 32 feet squared. Okay? Questions about number 4? All right. A equals BH. Are we okay with that? Okay. Find the area of the shaded region. Find the area of the shaded region. So this time, instead of looking at one shape, I'm really just wanting to know this area that's around the parallelogram. Do y'all see that? So we're going to do that shape around the parallelogram. So guys, we're always going to start with our big shape. And then what's going to happen, so my big shape is this entire rectangle. My big shape is the entire rectangle. Do I need to know the entire rectangle? No. I'm not wanting the entire rectangle. So what could I do if the big shape is the entire thing? What could I do now? Any ideas? I just went on the outside. Josh?
Get like the area of the parallelogram inside and then subtract it by the area of the big square.
We want to take away this inside shape. Do y'all agree? I want to take away the small shape. I want to take away this small shape. So what we're going to do, guys, is we're going to find our big area. Let's write this over here. To find the shaded region, we're going to do the big shape, and we're going to take away the small shape. Does that make sense? So it's kind of like, it makes me think of a weird shaped donut. You got to take the hole out of the donut, or else it's just like a cake. All right? All right, so let's do number 5. So my big shape is what? What is my big shape here? Okay, come on, guys. Elementary school. What shape is that around it? It's a rectangle. The big shape around this is a rectangle. Are we okay with where I'm getting that information? Okay. I know it's Monday, first day back to school for the new year. All right, but we're good. That is a rectangle, yes? All right. So I'm going to start with my area of a rectangle. Area of a rectangle says A equals LW. Y'all agree with that? Okay, so equals. What is the length of that rectangle? Here's a hint. It doesn't matter. Which one do we want to be the length? Aubrey? Which one is the length? 31, okay. Guys, do you think you need to write this down?
Yes.
Yes. If you don't write this down, if you just get this magic answer, that's not going to get you very many points. All right, so I added 31 is the length, so that leaves 18 to be the width. All right, when I multiply that, now I can use my calculator. What am I going to get when I multiply that? 558. Okay, so we have our big shape. Now we need to take away the small shape. What's the formula for that small shape? A equals BH. So A equals, what is the base of that small shape? 13. Do y'all see where they're getting that from? So now we're looking inside here. That base is 13, even though it's not on the bottom. So I get 13. What is the height? 6, because that's the right angle that's going up and down. And what do I get for that small shape? 78. All right, Kayla, Cheyenne, we good? Great. So is it adding this every single time? Mm-hmm. Okay, so that means something in here is programmed, so all you have to do is hit clear and on. Nope, clear and reset. There's. Okay, now try it. All right. Okay. So now from here, what do I need to do with those two areas? I need to subtract them. So I'm going to put a minus sign here. 558 minus 78, what does that give me? 40?
480.
480. 480 what?
Millimeters.
Millimeters?
Oh, squared.
Squared. There we go. Okay? Are y'all okay with that?
Mine messed up. Yeah, but I had 480.
Okay.
Mine messed up too.
Okay? So on number 6, what is my big shape this time? What is my big shape on number 6, Danny? It's a parallelogram. So we're going to do again the big shape. My big shape, which is A equals BH. What is the base of that parallelogram? 21. What is the height of that parallelogram? 12. And when I multiply that together, what do I get? 21 times 12. What does that give me? 252. Okay, now I need to do the small shape. What's the formula for the area of my small shape? Or let me rephrase that. What is the small shape? A rectangle. So what's my formula for a rectangle, Kayla? A equals LW. Okay, not Kayla at all, but okay. All right, Kayla Thrasher. Neither Kayla answered, and then someone else. And that's not time. Okay. What's the length, Kayla Thrasher? of the rectangle? 13. Okay. And the width? 7. Could we have done those the opposite way?
Yeah.
Yes. On a rectangle, it does not matter. So when I multiply those, what do I get for my rectangle? 91. Now what do I need to do? We're making a whole, so we are subtracting. If you're making a whole, that means you're taking something out, correct? So we're going to have to subtract this. What does that give me when I subtract those? 161 inches squared. Guys, where y'all are going to lose the most points on this test next week is going to be measurements. Okay, make sure you're writing those down each time. Alright, number 7, a word problem. We always dread these. Please don't. They're really easy. You're just trying to figure out what shape it's making, basically. Alright, Liam is preparing a 78 square foot, so that means that's giving me the area, square foot. So 78 square foot plot for a garden. The plot will be in the shape of a parallelogram that has a height of 6 feet. What will be the length of the base of the parallelogram? What shape are we making? Parallelogram. We're talking about still the area. So I'm going to start by writing my formula. A equals BH. Do you agree with that? Okay. What information does it tell me? What numbers does it give me?
78 and 6.
Okay, it gives me 78 and 6. Let's start with 6 because that one's easy. What does it say 6 is?
The height.
6 is the height. So where H is where I'm going to put 6. What is 78?
No, this is the base.
78. Does it say 78 is the base?
No.
Jenny, how do you know that 78 is the area?
It's the square foot.
It says square feet. Where do you have the square? In your area, in your answer. So 78 should actually go on this side of the equal sign. What's it asking for? What will be the length? Do I know what L is right now? No, so what can I use? L, or we can use B because it says the base. So I'm going to leave that B as just B. This looks like some algebra that we did before Christmas. Remember, we draw our line and we do the opposite. What's the opposite of this operation? Danny? Division. Opposite of multiplying is dividing. Remember, we draw our division like a fraction bar now. All right. What am I dividing by, Danny?
You're dividing by 6.
6. Okay. 78 divided by 6. We have a calculator. That'll help.
Wait,
13. So I get 13 equals, what happens to the 6 on top and 6 on bottom? They go away, so it's just B. So if 13 is my base, what am I missing with that? What am I missing to go with that base? So I need
feet squared.
feet. Why would I not do feet squared?
Because it's not the area.
It's not the area. This is just the base. How long is the bottom? 13 feet. You're fine. Guys, we've been putting squared with everything. I expected you to give me a squared here. Do we understand why we don't want to? You only do the squared if your answer is area. Here my answer was the base. So I got 13 feet. Are we okay with that? Alright, it says explain your reasoning. Guys, if I can see your work here, if I can see that algebra, guys, algebra is a mathematical explanation. That's all it is. It's showing the letter, it's a substitution, how it works, why it works. this is your explanation if you show your work clearly, okay? All right. You'll notice down here on the bottom it says your homework is in your textbook, which is on page 525 to 526. Now, your textbook is at home. So I'm going to put up here what I did, guys. It's on 2 different pages. So I made copies of the pages and kind of stuck it together so I could put it up here at one time. All right. It's 525 and 526. It's 2 different pages. The numbers, if you look up here on the board, it's 7 through 20 and 24 and 25 since y'all are advanced. So y'all need to make sure you're doing these problems, not just 7 through 18. Okay? We will check these tomorrow, so please make sure that you get them complete. I will send out some sort of hint for your homework tonight. Please check Remind. Please check Remind tonight for your homework hint and your homework help. It's just the one that says it. All right. Guys, the problems are up on the board. Just a reminder. Those are written down here for my advanced class. This part is your homework. For advanced, this part is your homework. All right, guys, let's get started. Y'all got a good 8 minutes. You can probably get this whole first part finished right now. Plus the fact that you have your calculator right now in your hand to use. You need a piece of paper out. You need to be starting these.
If it's modern, please.
Not right now. You'll have to use your phone. Flip it over and start on the back.